Here's where I would live if I could choose after living in 3 different countries. So in total, I lived in Japan for over 14 years. In Barcelona, I lived for 3 years. And then in the US, I've been living for a total of 8 years so far. So here are the pros and cons if you were to live in Japan versus if you were to live in the US. The good thing about living in Japan is that you actually get to save a lot of money. And there's a lot of options when it comes to food. I think that the food in Japan is the most amazing food ever. You have so many choices. On top of that, it's actually very cheap to eat out. Even to live in Japan is cheaper when it comes to rent and when it comes to utilities. The cons of living in Japan could be a little stressful because, of course, if you don't speak the language, not many people speak English in Japan. So you will have a little bit of a struggle when it comes to communication. When knowing some Japanese, if you're gonna live there, of course, it's gonna be a better choice. Then here are the pros and cons of living in Spain versus living in the US. The pros of living in Spain, overall, everything's cheaper than the US, that there's a lot more places to go in terms of restaurants and entertainment. You can walk everywhere you want, but the city is very walkable. It's really fun. People are really like enjoying their lives. The food and the coffee and all of that is way more affordable. And then in case if you were to live in Barcelona, there is the ocean, the beach life. It's like really nice. Some of the cons could be it's a little complicated when it comes to finding a job. The salary ranges are way lower than the US. If you live in Barcelona, it is a little bit of a struggle to live in a Spanish salary and try to find a good apartments or housing. Renting in Barcelona is kind of high at the moment. From 1,400 euros to 2,000 euros, it's kind of becoming the norm. When it comes to languages, a lot of people in Spain do speak English, so if you don't speak Spanish, like you'll be able to survive. If I had to choose where to live, based on my experience so far, Japan, Spain, and the US, I will definitely choose Spain, but with a salary or with a job from here. So that's my experience so far after living in 3 different countries. If I could choose to live somewhere else again, then I will definitely go back to Barcelona.